Greetings and salutations again. I seem to be on a roll with this particular vehicle. This is going to be the third video I do on this particular car. This is the 2007 Mazda 6 with a 2.3 liter 4-cylinder engine, non-turbo. It's the I model, I believe. And what I'm going to do today is a favor for the daughter's boyfriend. I'm going to change out the valve cover gasket. It's not a too difficult a task, just got to dismantle a few things. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to blow all this crap off because I don't want to get it all into the valve train. This is just the insulation that was on the hood that covers this. I went ahead and pulled it off. It's over here. Just over time that stuff flakes off. So I'm going to blow this off with compressed air, and then I'm going to show you the nuts and bolts of this. Hang on. First things first, I'm going to unplug each of the coil packs. And all you have to do is push down on this tab here and gently work it off. Excuse me. Then I'm going to work on getting the harness off of the post here. Now, if you look very carefully, you will see there are a couple of plastic tangs, one there and one there. So the way I got this off is I put my small screwdriver in there like so, and then I took my door panel removal tool and I lifted up like so. And so I jiggled it and it popped right off. These are plastic and they're old. And there's the other one. The next step was to do the same thing for this wiring harness, and it was already easy enough just to pop apart. Make sure you disconnect this sensor, because you're going to have to be lifting up on this to get things underneath. And you've got to expose all the bolts. Now, remember where these go. This is where the rubber grommet attaches on the underside here and here. So that's on like number 2 and 4 of the coil pack. So you take a wrench and unscrew those. Just plastic. Don't forget to undo the camshaft sensor over here. Press the tab and pull. Okay, and that comes off. 15mm wrench is what took those off. There and there. Oh, I'm slipping. You let me forget. I now have the rating. The Wurtidurd. So the Wurtidurd rating before I begin this is going to be a 2. 0 to 5. 5 being extremely bad. Very, very bad. And 0 being very, very easy. I hardly ever give a 0 because nothing's ever easy. Now this one took a bit of effort. It slides over. You've got this plastic clip which is to the inside there, and you have to really get in there and push this and gently push that out. Now of course on everybody else's videos it just pops right out, but it took me a couple of minutes. But you see it's got a tang there and on the other side, so I had to push it in and then squeeze these best I could and then gently pull it straight out. Next I'm going to work on this particular clamp. There's a nut here and a bolt here. These are 10mm. Then I'll work on the camshaft position sensor. I believe that's an 8. Yeah, that's an 8. So these two 10mm. Let me get this out of the way. So you can see I moved excuse me, the bracket over out of the way. I took the cam sensor off. Why? Because by the time you pull this off and you want to start cleaning it, you don't want all the chemicals to get on that. Little 8mm just popped right off. Got no ring on it. Now I'm going to start by taking the coil packs out one at a time. Here's another mount. And it fits right here, and it just pops right up. But you have to turn this over And you see where my finger is, there's a little, barely see it, there's a black tab right there. I had to take a screwdriver, pry up, and then slide this out. Very, very carefully. There it is. So I had to take a screwdriver, pry up, and pull it this way. And that takes this off the mount so that you can get to the bolts in this corner. These are mounted on posts, 8mm. This is what they look like. Now, at the same time, when I pull these coil packs, I'm looking to see if there's any oil down into the spark plug tubes. Last thing I'm going to do is remove the dipstick, but I don't want crap getting in there because there's all kinds of crap on top here. So I didn't have a chance to wash this car, take it to the car wash and clean it off before I did this. And in hindsight, I should have left this up on my lift, but woulda, shoulda, coulda. Well, looky here. I called that one right. Number 1, number 2, number 3, dry number 4. So that tells me that that inner gasket, when we flip this over, you'll see it, is hard as a rock and it's leaking down into the tubes, which can cause misfires. But number 2 and number 3. Glad I decided to do this. I was going to put it off, but I'm glad I didn't. So that's the one that's leaking. And of course this is leaking too because it's all on the outside. There's 2 and there's 3. The other 2 are dry. A veritable pool of oil. Now Mazda did something kind of cool. Excuse me. When you undo these bolts, they don't come out. So that way, if you turn things over, you don't lose a bolt. And I'll count these bolts. I think there's about 14. So everything is undone, and I kind of do it like I do a head gasket. If I'm taking the head off, I start from the outside and work in. And I do have a, from one of the sites, let's see, Mitchell DIY, All Data, there is a pattern, much like a head gasket, to tighten these things. And I have the specs onto how many inch-pounds it should be and where I start. Of course, this was stuck on, so I had to take my pry bar and be very careful. This is plastic. And the first place I was able to get was right here. And wedge that up a little bit. See? You don't want to scratch or ding anything. But over here, I really couldn't get anything solid. So what I did is I put a pair of pliers in like this. And then I went and wedged it up very gently. So now, excuse me, I'll take the dipstick out and I'm ready to take this off. See, it's now ready to come off. I may bungee this up, take a bungee cord to hold that up and out of my way. I think I'll also undo my sensor here. Gives me a little more room to play with. Yeah, I can bungee that up, keep it out of the way. One man show, you know. That's okay. Improvise, adapt, overcome. I did a little tie wrap here to keep this away from the corner here. Little bungee there to keep things up. Popped right off. Now, here's the torque sequence. Hope you can see that. It is 71 to 93 inch-pounds. I'm going to take it somewhere in the middle. So pause this and you can see. All right, let's take a look. Oops, sorry. See how much junk is on the residual. All right, so let me grab the light. You can see where the RTV is, where the 2 mating surfaces are. It's going to be there and way over here. Let me see if I can get a good shot of that. Yeah, see it? RTV kind of goes there. Just a dab of black RTV, you know, oil. I don't see a lot of stuff I have to scrub off. I'll clean this off real well. I've got to clean out those ports. Tension on that chain is really good. And oh my goodness, look at all the oil down in there. Holy cow. Yeah, see? Wait, that thing's full there. Jeez Louise. Alright, so I got these out. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then here. Let's look at pliability. So this is the one on the left. Yeah. Not much in pliability. This is what it should look like. So you know that one's old. Let's look at this one. Yeah. A little on the stiff side. See how flexible? So you know that one was leaking. Let's check the outside one. Yeah, very stiff. Doesn't bounce back. And then all the way around. So I'm going to clean this out with some brake clean. Got it all cleaned out. Special emphasis over here and up here to make sure you get all the old RTV out. Brake clean. Everything's clean. Edges are clean. Then I took my compressed air, blew it out, and I'm going to let it dry for a few minutes. Oh, let's go back to the coil packs too. I cleaned up the coil packs inside and out, used some brake clean, compressed air. Gonna let them dry a little bit. I will put some dielectric grease in here. And why this didn't short out is beyond me. Wow, with all that oil in there. All nice and clean. That one's a little hard to see. It's dark, but you understand what I'm saying. But that's nice and clean. I made sure that I cleaned off the porcelain and the tips so that I didn't have any oil on those. Don't want a short circuit. Don't want anything arcing. Everything is clean. I used my brake clean. Oh, let me show you what I used to scrape this off. I used a super scraper. Got this on Amazon. Not sure how long ago. I have to give credit where credit is due. I saw it on Eric O's channel, South Main Auto. It's pretty good, but you got to be careful. That is carbide. So really, it's kind of like a draw knife. You want to pull it towards you. You don't want to gouge out aluminum. It is very easy to do that. It is super sharp. It does a great job. You just have to be slow and cautious. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and I'm going to put each of the new gaskets inside the head there. Oops, I got to get that fleck of dirt out there. I'll make sure it's perfectly dry. Now, when you fit this in, it has little ridges there that keep it in place. Now, I can only go in one way, but you'll notice there seems to be a little bit of a groove right here. See that? It's a little bit smaller. So does that go up or down? Well, if you follow the pattern, it only fits this way. It won't fit the other way. If you flip it over, it won't work. And right around each of the bolts, they put a little groove right there, so you know that goes around the bolts. See how they did that? Pretty neat. Everything is pressed into place. Looks pretty good. Double checked. Hands are clean. Some people will put a dab of RTV in a couple of the areas underneath here to keep this from slipping out, but I'm not going to see a problem with that. So once I get it on, I'll start bolting it down. Now I've got to make sure I put my RTV on first, so let me go do that. How much is much? Oh, I figure about that much. Don't want to overdo it. All right, so here's what I've done. I had one small issue. Of course, I came in and put this down so that it would smash the RTV out on both sides. But I started just enough to catch some threads when I put the bolts in so that I'll be able to move this around. Just one bloody bolt right there. One to cause aggravation. So I had to loosen them up a little bit more and take a wedge, you know, a pry bar, and just push it just a tiny bit, just so it would line up. It was off by just that much. Missed it by that much. Now it's on, and what I've done is I went to 50 foot-pounds first. This is plastic. It's old plastic. I don't want to crack it. So what I've done is I've gone to 50, I'm sorry, not foot-pounds, inch-pounds. I've gone to 50 inch-pounds, and I'm going to let it sit here for about 15 to 20 minutes and acclimate. Then I will go back and go from 50 to, I think I'm going to do 85. And I followed that sequence. So I'm going to go drink some coffee and I'll come back. I forgot to mention that when I also put this down and started tightening the screws, I double checked with a flashlight all around the edges to make sure nothing was poking out. All right, so I waited about 15 minutes and I torqued it all down to 85 foot-pounds. Then, of course, I go around and check it a second and third time. You know, it's an ADD thing. If you're a mechanic, you don't want to miss anything. So, next I need to start reassembling. I'm going to go ahead and put the coil packs in first. And yes, I did remember to put a dab of the dielectric grease in there. Bet you thought I forgot, didn't you? Remember what I said about wordy dirds? Well, I was doing okay till I dropped my extension and my socket way down in there. But a magnet is your best friend. Magnets, tie wraps, bungee cords, you gotta have them. Plucked it right out. I believe I'm done. All right, let's triple check here. I know my torques are correct. That sensor I plugged in. I put this brace back on. I was just in the middle of finishing up and I ran out of battery power. I don't know if you out there in internet land have the GoPro Hero 10, but I find the battery life is abysmal. And I've got the extra battery with extra life. Absolutely abysmal. All right, back to the task. So make sure everything is back together. I have triple checked. Don't forget to put your little plastic studs back on. Don't forget to put your dipstick in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this cure for about 3 hours before I crank the car up. Then I'll crank the car up, get it up to operating temp, and check for any leaks. I'll put that little decorative hood on a little bit later. So everything is reconnected. Okay. I don't think I'll throw any codes. Connector, connector, on the post, over here. Okay. That little brace, that little clip, all 4 coil packs. They're all screwed in. I don't think I missed anything. Yep. I think we're good. I have triple checked my work again, and I only want to do it one time, so I think I'm done. So another couple of hours, I'll crank it up, and we'll see if there are any leaks. I don't expect any, but you never know. Well, here's another job. This one isn't terrible. I'll have to give it a 2.5 to 3, and that wasn't because of the difficulty in doing it. It's because I dropped my socket and extension, and this one little bolt here giving me a problem. That little thing right there. Other than that, it was a fairly straightforward job, and it takes you longer to actually clean stuff out. I wish I had a parts washer, but I don't. Parts washer would be nice. Would have gotten that really clean inside and out. I hope this saves you some money. I mean, the gasket itself with discounts